I've lost a lot more than I've made. My daughter's privacy and time. Time I'll never get back with her. His followers will probably be even more bold, thinking if they do something, he'll pardon them. Those people who said that it was uncomfortable to witness or to hear, I lived it.
Stormy Daniels did a one-on-one with Rachel Maddow to discuss the trauma, the case, and obviously actions of Donald Trump that was at the center of his business records indictment that landed him 34 felony counts, of course with the sexual act with her representing the motive for not just paying her off in the NDA, which isn't a crime by itself, but falsifying the business records in hopes that the public wouldn't find out and hurt his electoral chances, which is what makes it a felony. So let's hear some of what she had to say.
I answered questions, and if you don't want to hear the answer, don't ask me the questions. And for those people who said that it was uncomfortable to witness or to hear, I lived it. All you had to do was hear my very PG rated version on the stand. I had to relive it. I had to say it in court in front of all these people, knowing that it would be public record, that my daughter is going to read this, that everybody's going to read this. And preparing for the case, remember, I had to go back and think about all these details and make sure that I had everything absolutely accurate. And it is important because it proves that I was telling the truth.
And as she detailed in her testimony during the trial, it was very uncomfortable for her to experience in the moment. So you could imagine how hard it was for her to tell that story to the public. Trump obviously removing his clothes while she was in the bathroom and then being in the way of her exit in a way that makes it seem like, how do I get out of this situation? It kind of speaks to a clear pattern of behavior that we've seen with Trump a multitude of times now, not just with her, but looking back to his assault on E. Jean Carroll as well, or the tape of him saying that he can do whatever he wants to women. He doesn't even have to ask because he's rich and famous or whatever he was saying. It's clear that this is just a pattern of behavior for him. And it's also important to note that these aren't the only cases. These are just the two that were proven in court. 26 women have accused Trump of sexual assault. That's, again, kind of shows a pattern of behavior. One or two allegations, sure, maybe they're wrong. But if 26 people step forward, I mean, imagine if just 5% of those were true. That's still a couple people. Some of them have to be realistic. And these are just the ones who are brave enough to come forward and put themselves in the public eye. MAGA, in hopes to defend Trump, will always say, well, what about Biden and Tara Reade and Tara Reade? Even though, again, Tara Reade is a known liar. She's had legal cases thrown out because she lied in testimony. And to the allegations that she made on Biden, she's changed her story multiple times, including the first year and a half she told it. She was just saying that Biden made her feel uncomfortable by touching her shoulders. And then after E. Jean Carroll won her defamation and sexual assault case, she then changed it to, I was sexually assaulted as well. And even then, I would just urge her to take it to court. I mean, it's trust and then verify, right? And when you've lied a multitude of times to change your story, I mean, the trust isn't going to be there. So you can still go to court and verify. And I would say more power to you. But to say that those allegations are rock solid, but ignore Trump's 26 allegations, including this horrendous one that Trump has heavily tried to cover up, that includes and involves a minor and lewd acts with her, making him more akin to Matt Gaetz than maybe more people ever thought. And to me, it's kind of shocking the amount of people who don't even know about this.
I've lost a lot more than I've made. Mostly my peace, mostly my daughter's privacy and time. Time I'll never get back with her.
Given that, are you worried about Trump potentially being elected to a second term?
Shouldn't we all be worried about that?
Are you worried about it particularly for you?
Yes.
Why?
Because I think that he will try to make even more of an example out of me. And also because his followers will probably be even more bold, thinking if they do something, he'll pardon them.
And for those who think that Stormy Daniels stood to gain something from this, victims almost never do, especially when the perpetrator is someone in power. You're making yourself vulnerable to the world while the power imbalance isn't ever going to be in your favor. She spoke to spending any money she made on legal fees. She had to get out of work as well to testify. The case was pushed back, so she was out of work for a prolonged period of time. So it's not like the NDA made her rich. It's not like the story made her her rich. And now with Trump talking about pardoning very violent offenders at the January 6th at the Capitol on January 6th, what's to stop him from pardoning his followers if they say did the same thing to Stormy's house or attacked a member of her family? And the Supreme Court just gave the president full immunity for presidential acts. So this is in the realm of possibilities. Why? So you have to understand there's not much to gain for her to stick her neck out. So why would she do it other than wanting to hold the person who did something horrendous to her accountable? During the trial, they were trying to get her daughter's information and address entered into the courts, even though her daughter has nothing to do with the trial, wasn't involved, wasn't brought up at all. These are the actions of a powerful man who did something wrong, knows he did something wrong, and is trying to make an example of the person who came forward and was willing to hold him accountable in hopes that nobody else does. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together.